The biggest delay in your life has a name: waiting. A lot of people out there are frozen, waiting for life to give them a green light, waiting for confidence to show up, waiting for more money, more time, more support, more experience, waiting for the fear to go away, waiting for some magical wave of courage. And you know what happens? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because time doesn't wait for those who hesitate. Life doesn't reward those who hide behind. It's not the right time yet. On the contrary, it charges you in regret, in frustration, in silence, in dreams that collect dust. The truth is hard, but it has to be said. The perfect moment doesn't exist. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you'll actually live. Because this whole wait until you're ready thing is the biggest lie you've ever believed. And the worst part? It sounds responsible. It sounds smart, but it's cowardly and comfortable. While you're putting things off, someone less prepared than you already started. They're out there messing up, learning, growing. And you're still clapping for others while hiding your calling behind beautiful excuses. This video isn't about quick motivation. It's about awakening. It's about shaking your soul with the kind of truth no one's had the guts to tell you. It might hurt, it might sting, but it will also set you free. Because deep down, you already know, if you keep waiting to feel ready, you'll spend your whole life on pause. And maybe, just maybe, your biggest leap begins right here. The myth of the perfect moment. How many times have you delayed your plans, waiting for a sign from the universe, waiting for the stars to align, for some magical right time? The truth is, that moment never comes. The mind craves comfort, certainty, safety. It hates risk. So it's always going to try to convince you that you're not quite ready yet, that you need more knowledge, more time, more savings, more stability. But that hesitation, that fear, that's often the clearest signal that it's time to act. Because what feels scary to your ego is often exactly what your soul needs to grow. People hide behind preparation mode. It feels productive, like planning, researching, setting goals. But sometimes it's just fear in disguise. Ever notice how many people binge on courses and never apply what they learn? The world is full of well-organized notebooks, finished certificates, and dreams gathering dust. Preparation matters, up to a point. But beyond that, it becomes a stylish way to stall. The difference between those who do and those who just dream, the ones who jump even while trembling. Here's the bad news and the good news. The bad news: you'll never feel 100% ready. The good news: you don't need to be. Readiness isn't about having no fear. It's about moving forward anyway. It's like learning to swim. You can read every book, but you won't really learn until you're in the water. And yes, you might swallow some water at first, but that's how you grow. So maybe, just maybe, the fear you feel right now is a clearer sign that it's finally time. The illusion of total control. We're raised to believe we need to have everything under control. Plan it all. Predict every outcome. Avoid every risk. But life doesn't work like that. Life is messy, unpredictable, full of variables you'll never be able to manage. When you try to control everything, you're really just trying to avoid pain, rejection, failure. But that need for control brings its own kind of suffering, paralysis. People who cling to control rarely experience freedom, because real living means surrendering to uncertainty. Think about the greatest figures in history. None of them were ever sure things would work out. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison before becoming a symbol of peace. They were scared too. The difference? They knew control was a myth, and that you can still act with wisdom even in chaos. That shift changes everything. Because when you stop chasing total control, you start listening to something deeper, your gut. And intuition, more often than not, is smarter than fear. So what can you do instead of obsessing over every detail? Start with what you've got. Launch the podcast even if your mic isn't perfect. Move to that new city even if you don't have it all figured out. Leave that job even if the next step isn't crystal clear. That's not recklessness. It's inner trust. You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. And often, the next step only shows up after you move. You'll never have full control, But you can learn to trust yourself, and that changes everything. Fear as a quiet advisor fear gets a bad rap. We treat it like an enemy to defeat, a monster to silence. But what if it's just a messenger? A quiet advisor that doesn't want to freeze us, but protect us? The problem isn't fear itself. It's letting fear decide for us. That's when people get stuck. Fear whispers, "It's not time yet. You're not good enough." They'll laugh at you. But here's what fear doesn't say. Courage isn't what happens after fear disappears. Courage is choosing to act while fear is still screaming. People assume the brave don't feel fear. Nothing could be further from the truth. True courage means being terrified and doing it anyway. The guy who quits his job to follow a dream. The single mom who launches a business. The college dropout who starts a movement. They're all scared, but they move. And if you're scared right now, good. It means you're on the edge of something important. Fear shows up most when you're leaving your comfort zone and stepping into your calling. And here's the twist. Fear never truly goes away. It just changes form. But over time, you get better at living with it. You stop running. You learn to walk beside it, to listen but not obey, to respect it without surrendering. And strangely, when you stop fighting fear, it shrinks. So next time fear shows up, don't panic. Sit with it, hear it out, and then choose for yourself. Fear only has power when you forget who's really in charge. The comparison, that freezes you comparison, looks harmless at first, but it eats away at your self-worth like rust on metal. It's like trying to run a marathon while staring sideways. You trip on your own path. We see someone else's success and forget their struggle. We see the stage, not the backstage. Instagram shows perfect bodies, happy couples, flawless routines. And your brain, already full of self-doubt, whispers, "You're behind." But that's not truth, it's distortion. Everyone moves at their own pace. That's not just feel-good talk, it's reality. Maybe you've been measuring yourself with someone else's ruler, an artist comparing themselves to a software engineer, a dreamer comparing themselves to a realist. Comparison dims your light. It makes you forget the battles you've won, the quiet victories no one saw, the beauty only you carry. And the worst part? It steals your rhythm. It replaces your flow with pressure. Pressure creates anxiety. And anxiety makes you freeze, not fly. Comparison isn't harmless. It's toxic. The way out? Turn inward. Reconnect with what you actually want, not what the world celebrates. Ask yourself, do I truly want this, or am I just trying to catch up? When you get clear on that, things shift. You stop chasing trends and start following truth. You admire others without envy. You applaud without shrinking. Comparison blinds, but awareness opens your eyes. And once you remember your own path, you stop getting distracted by everyone else's. Discomfort is a catalyst for growth. Most people think they'll start something new once they feel calm, confident, and fully at ease. But growth hurts, and it always will. Discomfort is the fee for transformation. You want a new life, but you want to keep the same habits, same mindset, same safe routine? That's not how it works. Every real change demands a rupture, whether it's with people, patterns, or comfort zones. And rupture is messy. It's chaotic, but it's also necessary. Because you only discover who you really are when life shakes you out of your safety net. Think about a caterpillar. While it's in the cocoon, it's warm and safe. But at some point, it has to break out. And that process is painful. It's tight. It's confusing. But only by going through it can it become a butterfly. The metaphor might sound overused, but it's biologically accurate and emotionally true. How many times have you avoided a hard decision just because you knew it would be uncomfortable? Saying no, setting boundaries, changing directions. Yet it's in that discomfort that a new version of you is born. If you want to grow, stop running from discomfort. Learn to sit with it, to breathe through it, to listen to what it's teaching you. Practice with small things. Stay quiet when you want to snap. Speak up when you'd rather avoid conflict. Break the pattern. Discomfort, when faced consciously, becomes power. It sharpens you, grounds you, builds emotional muscle. Too much comfort dulls your edge. But discomfort, used wisely, sets you free. The decision that changes everything. There comes a moment where you must choose. Move forward in fear or stay still in regret. That moment won't be glamorous. No soundtrack, no audience cheering. Usually it's quiet, even lonely, but it's there in the silence that everything shifts. Because once you decide, with your whole being, something inside you aligns. Life still looks uncertain, sure, but you're not the same. Clarity comes after the decision, not before. That's where most people get stuck. They wait to feel certain before they act. But certainty is born from action. Life reacts to movement. You decide to leave or stay, speak or stay silent, accept or challenge. And those small, daily decisions, they shape everything. The difference between an average life and a meaningful one often comes down to how many hard choices you're willing to make. And no one can make them for you. A coach can motivate. A friend can encourage. A mentor can guide. But only you know what's burning inside. Only you know what hurts to keep buried. So take a breath. Look around. Maybe your life isn't perfect. Maybe you're still scared. Still unsure. But here's what you have. Something no one else controls. The power to choose. That's your superpower. When you choose to move forward, even if nothing feels ready, you unlock paths that didn't exist before. Life doesn't reward perfectionists. It rewards the brave, the ones who leap, even with shaky legs, because true readiness is a choice. Imperfect action is what transforms you. Have you noticed how life-changing moves are almost never made in total confidence? People who shift their world usually start with trembling hands because they've learned one secret. Clarity follows action, not the other way around. You learn by doing, by trying, by messing up. Waiting for everything to be perfect is the fastest way to stay stuck. The ones who grow are the ones who move before they feel ready. That bold, imperfect yes tells the universe, I'm in. And that energy, it creates momentum. Of course it's going to be messy. You'll stumble. You'll cringe at your early work. So what? Every master was once a beginner. The ones you admire now were awkward ones too. It's through imperfect attempts that you find your style, your voice, your rhythm, whether it's speaking in public, building something new, or ending something toxic. It's better to do it badly than never do it at all. Because today's shaky step becomes tomorrow's solid stride, if you keep going. And here's the most beautiful part. Your imperfect action inspires others. They see that you don't have to be flawless to move forward. That courage isn't about having all the answers. It's about showing up anyway. Your willingness to go first could be the very thing someone else needed to believe they can too. So don't wait. Move as you are. Scared, shaky, uncertain. Because transformation never comes when everything feels safe. It comes when you finally understand you'll never be ready. And still, you choose to begin.